Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach, and today I am driving a 1969 Cadillac DeVille Convertible. Up front is a 7.7 liter V8, and down below is a 3-speed automatic transmission. Now I am super excited to be driving this DeVille Convertible for a couple of reasons. First of all, this vehicle has a lot of firsts for Cadillac, and you'll hear me mention that a lot throughout the video. We do have some first-year options as well, so I'm excited to share all of that with you here today. But the second and main reason is the fact that it's just nice to be driving a big boaty Cadillac like this. And this particular one is such a well-kept example that I'm excited to share it with you here today. But if you'd like to submit your own vehicle and have it reviewed here on the channel, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. And if you'd like to see all my videos weeks or sometimes months in advance, you can head on over to my Patreon for only $5 a month. But let's get back to that 472 V8 under the hood. Well, 7.7 liters honestly wasn't that big for the 1960s. This is a pre-oil crisis car, and so the V8s of this era were pretty unrestricted. They didn't have emissions crap on them, and they could go as big as they wanted, and so 7.7 was a healthy number that Cadillac found to make engines with. Now, as we moved into the 70s, we saw that number disappear. This wasn't even the largest that Cadillac ever made. This is technically not even that big, but kind of funny to see. Now, like I said, paired to it is a 3-speed automatic transmission. It's a turbo 400, which was a pretty common transmission for the era. Nothing really too crazy or special with it, but I like it. It's shifting well, and I don't have any complaints. Last but not least, about the drivetrain, the DeVille is rear-wheel drive. So a lot of people think that all Cadillacs switch to front-wheel drive. That's actually not the case. The DeVille, which was the larger vehicle, if you could believe that, actually maintained its rear-wheel drive for quite some time. So very, very neat. How does it feel to drive a 1969 Cadillac DeVille Convertible? Well, besides feeling big baller everywhere you go, it is a nice ride. It does have that plush and comfy Cadillac suspension. However, it's so large that it feels like each of the 4 tires is bouncing at its own rate in its own stratosphere. So you might hit a bump with the front right, the rear left is doing something completely different. And there's just not a whole lot of communication that goes along with the suspension, but it's quite nice. Honestly, it is a Sunday morning, the morning that I'm filming this. We had a big rainstorm last night. The sun is coming out, the puddles are drying up. I mean, this is what the Cadillac was meant for. Low and slow. We're doing about 5 under right now. My hand is on the bottom of the steering wheel. My arm's out the window. I love it. I love this. This is what this car was meant to do. If you want it to be a rocket ship, that's not it. But if you want that comfy cruiser to go and sing your own tune, that's exactly what this car was meant to do. This right here. It doesn't get more perfect Cadillac experience than what I'm doing right now. Look at this, open road, nothing. Oh, this is a good Cadillac. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have a horizontal speedometer. Love to see this. Off to the left, we do have cruise control, and you actually set it by twisting this dial. Very, very cool. We do have fuel over there as well, and off to the right, we do have an analog clock, and we have the convertible top button. So this is a mostly power convertible top. You do have to pull a cover off at the back, and there's little latches that you have to sort of finish the job, but it is a power operated top, which is very, very cool. To the bottom left, we have our headlight switch and our climate control. The same sort of dial that you saw for the cruise control is for the climate as well. And off to the bottom right, we have the radio. This was the first year for the radio having 2 dials. This is an FM radio, which was optional, and a pretty nice option for 69. We do have a pull-out ashtray. Love to see this, of course, very, very characteristic of the 60s. And we have 2 climate control vents off to the left. Everything is kind of contained right in front of the driver, and this was very, very characteristic of the 1960s and into the 70s. Moving on to the door, we have our wipers and washers on the door. Very interesting to see it there. Then, of course, we do have our mirror adjustments, window locks, power windows, and door locks. This is the first year to get electronic door locks where they were pneumatic years prior. On the steering wheel, we just have the Cadillac badge, as well as there is a horn ring around the steering wheel. This is a 1 year only option where the horn is actually sort of embedded into the outskirts of the wheel. And it does still work, but it was pretty problematic. It only works in certain times. Cadillac knew this, so they got rid of it for 1970. But here you go. If I can get it to work. There it is. There it is. It still works, which I love to see in here. Moving into the center, if you could call it that, we just get climate vents and this nice wood paneling for the dashboard. Love to see all of that. And as you'll notice, this interior is very red. I love to see this. This is a very 60s red, a very lipstick red. I've always enjoyed the look of it, and I think it really completes the rest of this interior. Now, I don't have any cup holders, so unfortunately it fails the big friggin' bottle test, but to be expected. And interestingly, the passenger sun visor has a removable mirror. What could they possibly have used this for in the 1960s to have a removable mirror? I sure hope it wasn't for any nose beers. But the seats are comfortable. I really, really enjoy them. And they are 6-way power adjustable, which for the 1960s was very, very nice. However, speaking of seats, we do have back seats. So let's go do a back seat review. All right, getting in the back of the Cadillac DeVille convertible, we have a little latch down here that folds the seat forward, step up and in. And once, oh my goodness. Okay, I almost fell through the seat. That's how cushiony it is. With the seat back up where it's supposed to be, this car has so much rear leg room. I could sit back here for hours and hours and hours and not throw a fit. As you saw, I sunk way down into the seat. There's very little cushioning. And I do have this little vent over my right shoulder. We have ashtrays on either side because, of course, if the nose beers weren't enough, I'm sure a nice Marlboro Red would do the trick back here. And just... enjoy the sunshine in the back of a convertible DeVille. So, so cool. And I love the fact that it's not cramped back here. I could sit back here. My knees aren't hitting the seat in front of me. The heavens are my headliner. And I love that. This is just, I love this so much. Let's hop into the trunk. We'll take a quick look back there because we actually have some really cool artifacts back there. And then we'll talk about the looks. All right, around the back of the 1969 DeVille convertible, and we have 2 keys here. So this square key is for the ignition and the doors. So the idea is that you would give a valet just this key because this key is just for the trunk and glove box. So you would keep any valuables that you wanted away and no one could access them. In traditional Cadillac fashion, you move the badge over and put the key in there. And then we have some really, really cool artifacts around here. So we do have some period correct cameras. Absolutely love this. This is what I would be using if I were doing car reviews, you know, back in the late 60s. What's up, guys? My name is Zach, and today I'm driving a brand new DeVille convertible. That's so cool. We also have a page from the Chicago Daily News, 1969, Monday, July 21st. 20 minutes later, he was joined by Edwin E. Aldrin Jr. The 2 U.S. astronauts explored the moon's surface for 2 hours, 11 minutes before returning to the Eagle. That is the moon landing. But one of the coolest things back here is this. This is the original 1969 Cadillac catalog. And I'll flip through all the pages here, just seeing all this design, you know, kind of what they wanted, the essence of these vehicles. There you go. Let me know in the comments which one of these you would take home. This one is a knight in shining armor, apparently, for the Fleetwood Eldorado. Just love to see Fleetwood 75. Look at that. Look at that. So, so cool. It has all these different styles for each of the cars. Love to see all of this. I'll just keep flipping through these. A chessboard, hardtop sedan DeVille. I mean, just such a cool, cool piece of history. Look at this, all the options, remote control, trunk release. Beautiful, just beautiful. So that is super cool. We do have a spare tire that is not the original spare tire, but here it is. This is the trunk of a 69 DeVille convertible in all of its glory. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and I, of course, adore the look of the convertible DeVille. I mean, how can you not? It's iconic. It's so unapologetically Cadillac, but we do have some interesting things to talk about with the exterior after we do this walk around. It is a beautiful shade of red. Red on red, absolutely love that. And this is one of the longest Cadillacs made, and you could see that. I mean, this walk around is taking forever. So, very, very nice. Couple of things with the exterior. This is the first year that they switched back to horizontal headlights. For 1968, they were actually vertical. And this is the first year that they brought back the three-way visible taillights. So you can see them from 3 different angles, from the left, right, and center. Now, that was something that they did in the early 60s, but they brought that back for 69 and then didn't continue it for 1970. So, again, 1 year only taillights here on the DeVille convertible. With all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving this convertible DeVille? Of course, it's been an incredibly special experience and one that I'll carry with me forever. Driving this car on the empty streets on a Sunday morning is just blissful. I cannot imagine another car that I would want to do this in. Now, there are faster cars out there. There are more luxurious cars. But there's something about the presence of this car that really gets me cruising down the boulevard. Yes, this car is loud and it pops and it gets attention and all of that. But honestly, it doesn't beg for attention. It gets your attention for sure. But it doesn't get on its knees and say, please look at me, please, 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 please. It just says, hey, you might want to check this out. And the DeVille convertible is correct. I do want to check it out, and I have enjoyed checking it out. I also just love not only what was found in the trunk, but this era. I mean, the 1960s were such an astronomical era, and I mean that in both ways, not only in the way that we were looking towards the future, but we literally landed on the moon the year this car came out, and we saw that with the newspaper. There's just something about 60s cars that were ready to take on the future. I feel like with a little jet engine, these things could have taken flight. That's the kind of technology and that's the kind of zeitgeist that there was. It was the turbine era. Commercial flight was starting to become more and more popular and readily available. It just felt like everything in the 60s was going pretty good. We were getting it kind of right for a while. We had evolved the prosperity of the 1950s. The 1950s were ramping up to the speed, and now in the 60s we were able to coast. We were able to set that cruise control and enjoy the fruits of our labor, and that's what this car feels like. This car feels like you can enjoy it. You can enjoy the fruit of what it has done. That's how it feels to drive a 1960s Cadillac. You feel like you're the king of the world, and that the world isn't so far out of grasp. Someone that bought this could easily afford a home. That's what I miss about these cars. They were so, so, so special, and driving this one here today is no different. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Richard for letting me borrow his 1969 convertible DeVille convertible, sorry. He's been absolutely wonderful. I've reviewed several Cadillacs from him. He is just the best. He's a Cadillac connoisseur, and I couldn't do it without him. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.